I can still smell it. 22 and a half years later, I can still smell it like it was this morning. That is the power of smell, right? It stays with you. For me, 22 and a half years ago, it was a big day. You see, Jane and I had been dating for 5 or 6 months. I was in love. She was in like, I was in love. I had met her parents twice now. Her mother adored me. Her father, not so much. It was 50-50. We were at a tipping point in the relationship. There was the possibility, but I'm not sure if we would call it the probability at this time that we were going to end up together. So I knew what was going to happen on this particular Saturday morning was going to be important. You see, on this particular Saturday morning, I was going to meet Grandma Myrtle. Grandma Myrtle grew up or lived on the farm across the road from the farm Jane grew up on. Grandma Myrtle was a person in Jane's life she had spent hour upon hour upon hour with. Grandma Myrtle's opinion of me was going to matter. So on that Saturday morning, I showed up, and friends, I don't want to brag, but I had my A game on. All right? I don't know what Jane was thinking, but Myrtle liked me. All right? This lovely woman, tiny woman, in her early 90s, still living on the farm, all by herself. We were there, we talked, conversation went well, we made breakfast. I don't have very many skills in the kitchen, but the few skills I had, I showed them to Myrtle. I was cracking eggs, I was flipping pancakes, I helped set the table. When it was time to bring out the food, I grabbed it, I brought it out. Myrtle was impressed. She asked me what I wanted to drink. I said, oh, I'll get it. She sat down at the table, the same table that sits in our house today. Jane sat down. They both wanted orange juice. I poured 2 glasses. I finished off the orange juice. Frankly, I kind of wanted some orange juice, but it was more about Myrtle this day. So I came and I brought them. I could tell by the look on Myrtle's face. She looked at Jane and said, she was thinking with her eyes. She said, he even brings juice. He's a keeper. I went back in, and the juice was gone, and we used the rest of the milk for some pancakes. So I reached, there's a little bit of milk left in the back of the fridge, and another carton. I poured it in. I came out. I sat at the table. We sat down. The meal was going great. About a third of the way through the meal, I reached out and grabbed the milk. Oh, it didn't even get within 6 inches of my nose, and I could smell it. Have you ever smelled sour milk? It is immediately my head turned, because that's what happens, right? My eyes went up. All of a sudden, my stomach started doing some jumping jacks. I grew up in southern Iowa. I've driven past pig refineries, right? I have walked into locker rooms where the body odor feels like it's punching you in the nose. And to this day, sour milk is the worst smell for me I've ever encountered. How about for you? Can you name the worst smell you've ever encountered? Because if you can, I'm guessing not only can you name it, but you can probably, it'll take you back to that particular moment when you first smelled. You don't have to say what it is, but do you have it? Can you? Some of you are nodding, some of you are going like this. So you're smelling it too. That is the power of smell. Everybody has a smell. For Martha does, Mary does, the disciples do. For them, it's not something they encountered 22 and a half years ago. It's something they encountered just a few days before. You see in the 12th chapter of the Gospel of John, our story for the day, they're still thinking about what just happened in the 11th chapter. You see in the 11th chapter, some of you know this story. Jesus had received word that his friend Lazarus, was very ill. Mary and Martha were hoping Jesus would come and heal their brother. After all, Jesus heals everybody. Surely he would show up and heal his friend. But Jesus didn't arrive on time, did he? In fact, by the time Jesus gets there, Lazarus is no longer ill. Lazarus is already dead. More than that, the funeral is over. That's how late Jesus is. And when Martha hears Jesus is here, she's ready to let him have it. She goes running up to him and puts her finger lets Jesus have it. And for Mary, for her part, when Jesus encounters her, she's so overwhelmed by grief, she can't even stand. She falls to the ground just weeping. It's important to note that when Jesus encounters these two mourning sisters, Jesus does not sidestep them. He doesn't try to walk around them. Instead, he takes Martha's anger. He goes into a long conversation with her. He answers all of her really difficult questions. And when Jesus sees Mary falling to the ground, weeping, he doesn't pat her on the shoulder or hand her a box of Kleenex. You know what Jesus does? He falls to the ground, and Jesus weeps with her. I imagine he wraps Mary in his arms of compassion. And then Jesus, when Mary has no more tears left to shed, when Martha's anger is gone, he takes Mary and Martha to the cemetery. By this time, everybody who's at the funeral is curious, so they follow along. Jesus gets to the cemetery. He says to the pallbearers, hey, go remove the stone. And you remember what Martha said? Don't do that. Why? There's already a stench in the air. It's been 4 days. There's already a stench in the air. That's the smell. I don't want to be morose this morning, but that's the smell for Mary and for Martha and for all the disciples. If you've ever smelled death before, you know what I'm talking about. And as Martha and as Mary and as the rest of the disciples stand there, they say, that's enough. We can smell it. It's plenty strong. You remove that stone, it's going to be even worse. And Jesus says to the pallbearers, remove the stone. I imagine they take a deep breath, because that's what you do when you have to go into something that really smells bad. Right? Take as deep a breath as you can, and they remove the stone. Then they get away as fast as possible until Jesus says, Lazarus, come out. The next thing you know, the dead man is raised to new life. Lazarus walks out. Jesus says, unbind him and let him go. This story from the 11th chapter of John's Gospel is a story I've told 100 times live, because frankly it's my favorite story in the entire Bible. And only now do I point out the one detail that I've always left out. Obviously, we tell that story to say that Jesus has power over death, but on this day, you know why I tell you this story? One little detail I invite you to think about. How do you think Lazarus smells? I know it's a glorious thing, right? He's just been raised to new life, but he's been dead for 4 days. How do you think Lazarus smells? And why that matters is because just a couple of days later, at the house of Lazarus, there is a dinner party for Jesus. It is this tiny little house, as was a custom of the day. The floor is on the table. Everyone, Jesus is there, Lazarus is there, James and John, Andrew and Peter, they're all crammed in. They're all up against this table, laying on the floor. They're all within inches of one another, and Lazarus, he still smells like death. Think about it. In the ancient world where people bathed once a week, maybe. In the ancient world, in a place in history, in a location on this earth where water is scarce, where perfume was incredibly expensive and deodorant was not existent, Lazarus, who smells like death, is at the table. And everybody else is crowded there as well. Can you imagine how that room smells? Not good, right? Is that a dinner party you would like to attend? Is that a type of room you would walk into, a room that smells like that? I wouldn't. Personally, I try to avoid places and situations, and if I'm painfully honest, people who smell in a manner that makes me cringe or makes my stomach start to turn. I want to help people, to be sure, right? But how do I do it? Probably like everyone else, from an arm's distance, right? to avoid that smell. I don't want to go here, I want to help from here. Because that's what smell does to me. That's why what happens next is amazing. Do you know what Mary does? Mary walks into this house. She walks into this room that smells like death. Mary doesn't have to be there. Martha is doing the cooking. Martha has it all taken care of. Thank you very much. Mary can do whatever she wants. What does Mary do? She enters into this room. She walks into this room that smells like death, and Mary falls down at the feet of Jesus. Now I know it's Jesus, but friends, feet are feet. Okay? Jesus has been walking on roads of dirt and mud and dung for months now. And Mary falls down and puts her face by the feet of Jesus. Does that make you uncomfortable? The room smells like death and feet. Now, for some of us, that is a personal nightmare, right? And what does she do? She does not come empty-handed. She takes out this big bottle of perfume. It's worth 300 denarii. One denarii is a day's labor's, a day's wages for someone who works in the field, which means 300 denarii. This is a year's worth of wages to buy a bottle of perfume. I don't care whether you are rich or poor or somewhere in between. Think about how much money you make in an entire year and how much perfume you could buy with that. That's a lot of perfume, right? And Mary brings that amount of perfume into this tiny little room that reeks like death. What does she do? She opens it up. She pours it on the feet of Jesus, and then she starts rubbing it in, one little piggy at a time, and it's so much that she has to dry it off. In the Gospel of John, she doesn't even have a towel, so she uses her hair to wipe off the feet of Jesus. And when she's done, she pours and she rubs and she wipes again. She goes it again and again, and it is just too much. Poor Judas, who's sitting there leaning against the table, said, "Enough, Jesus, what is she doing? We can sell that perfume to make 300 denarii. Give that money to the poor." Of course, Judas doesn't care about the poor. Judas is the one who's going to betray Jesus. Judas is the one who keeps the money. Okay, so if they can sell the perfume for 300 denarii, a year's worth of wages, I'm sure the poor will get 10 denarii. The other 290 are going into Judas's pouch. All right? That's how Judas he's thinking about himself. And Mary, she can only think about Jesus. Now why? Why in this story is Mary so completely and utterly devoted? Because that's what this act is. It's an act of complete and utter devotion to Jesus. Why is she like this? And the answer is easy. Why is she doing something that on the surface appears to be pretty crazy? Answer is simple, friends. It is because she is caught up in the love of Jesus. She knows on her worst day, Jesus did not judge her, but instead went down and wrapped her in his arms of compassion and wept with her. She knows that her sister, who was overrun by anger and bitterness, how Jesus liberated Martha from these feelings. She was there when they put Lazarus in the tomb, and she was there 4 days later when Jesus demonstrated his power over death by raising him to new life. When Jesus meets you on your worst day, when Jesus liberates someone you care about, when Jesus demonstrates the power over death that belongs to your family and to you yourself, well, friends, you can't help but get caught up in the love of Jesus, right? And love makes us do some pretty strange things. I know what it did to me in my own life. Remember Grandma Myrtle? The breakfast went really well up until the very end. We had eaten our pancakes. We had eaten our eggs. Jane got up to clear off the table. I started to get up to, and Myrtle put her hand on my hand and said, "Let Jamie do it." Myrtle wanted to talk to me some more. That's a good sign, right? And so Jane took the eggs, and she took the plates and the silverware. Everything was going great. She came back in, she grabbed the empty cups of juice, she grabbed my cup of milk, and she said, "You didn't finish it. Here." She placed it back in my hand. And I looked at Jane with this look of desperation that she could not yet read in my eyes. And she said, "Drink your milk," which I still need to forgive her for that. And then I looked at this woman, and then I looked at Myrtle. Jane grew up on a dairy farm. Myrtle was a lifelong dairy farmer. Not drinking your milk, that's a no-no, right, in this household. I looked at Jane, and I looked at Myrtle, I looked at the milk, and I looked at Myrtle, I looked at Jane. You know what I did, right? Have you ever been in love? I drank that milk as fast as I could. Why? It's not because I'm tough, friends, and you need to know that's not it. Okay, I'm even lactose intolerant, all right? I drank that milk, why? Because I was in love. When you are caught up in love, you do things that the world might think are pretty strange. My hope for you this day is that you're caught up in the love of Jesus. That you have a Savior who on your worst day surrounds you with His compassion, who is liberating people around you in this community and in this congregation, and who promises you, like Lazarus, when you close your eyes for the final time, you are going to hear Him calling you by name, raising you to be loved. And if you know that, even just a little bit, if you're caught up in the love of Jesus, then like Mary, you can walk into some pretty smelly situations, knowing you do not go alone, but you have the love of God, Jesus Christ, to share with those you encounter. And friends, that love, smells both sweeter and it is stronger